Hey everyone, today we'll be talking a little bit about perception of effort and the muscle unit recruitment, and a little bit about muscle unit recruitment in general, some of the most interesting stuff. Long story short, perception of effort is a feeling of how hard we are working in a moment. In short, the stronger the command coming from our brain to a specific muscle, the stronger the perception of effort. And normally, if there is a higher level of signal, the motor unit recruitment will be higher. However, there is one important thing you need to remember, particularly during higher rep ranges. Specific metabolites are producing in a muscle, and perceived level of effort is consequently higher. Because of this metabolic accumulation, you feel specific pain, burning, fatiguing burning effect, and it very makes sense why the perceived level of effort is higher. This information is very important simply because the presence of these metabolites causes us to stop a set before reaching a maximal motor unit recruitment. Of course, this will not affect hypertrophy when doing lighter sets to muscular failure, but it will negatively affect building maximal strength. This is, in my opinion, number one reason why, if our main goal is building max strength, why it's way more useful doing sets with just a couple of repetitions, 3 to 5, for example. With this range, we don't build those metabolites that much, which will then allow us to activate the maximal threshold motor units, which is consequently precondition to building max strength. It's also proven that the presence of previously mentioned metabolites will cause CNS fatigue, and we know that CNS fatigue is number one enemy of improving maximal muscular strength. Now, if we are not fatigued, simply by utilizing max effort isometric and concentric muscular contraction, we can achieve maximal levels of motor unit recruitment, but it will be a bit more difficult to achieve maximum levels of motor unit recruitment when it comes to eccentric training, because usually you need helpers when it comes to execution. Those let's say a little bit complicated methods, you need a long equipment setup. Simply said, just because of the nature of eccentric muscular contraction, it will be much more difficult to achieve maximal levels of motor unit recruitment, because you need way more load, among other things, compared to concentric phase, for example. But there is solution to that. In my opinion, on market today, the best solution when it comes to eccentric training is, for example, a K-box machine, and those machines similar to that, working the same principle, where you have a eccentric phase and then moving to short isometric phase, and then back to concentric phase, which is very sport specific. So as we can see here, if our goal is maximal motor unit recruitment, you need to do either very heavy lifting or do lighter lifts very fast, basically with max speed. This is because max effort is what's actually matter when it comes to maximal motor unit recruitment, when we lift very heavy, 90 plus percent of one repetition maximum, for example, due to muscular failure. We have slow lifts, but we're putting maximal effort, as well as when we lift lighter loads with max speed, we have a maximal muscular effort as well. Over here we have a great diagram done by Chris Birdsley, where we can exactly see what's going on when we are under fatigue and when we are not fatigued. As you can see over here, when we are under fatigue and we put maximal effort in a lift, we consequently reduce maximal MUR unit recruitment because of fatigue and those metabolites we were talking about before. In this example, fatigue actually reduces bar speed for any given level of effort, and this is why velocity-based training is very important in order to actually detect that speed loss and finish a set. It's usually after 4, 5, 6 repetitions. Last but not least, it's relatively easy to recruit all the MUR units in some muscles, but relatively hard to do the same in other muscles. This affects both the ability to achieve hypertrophy and the likelihood of causing muscle damage. Muscle damage is a very interesting thing here. We were talking about eccentric muscle contraction, and if we try to achieve maximal MUR units during eccentric muscle contraction, we can be in trouble with muscle damage. Consequently, number one, CNS fatigue increase tremendously after this kind of contraction during maximal effort. Metabolic accumulation is very high, which all requires very long recovery period, and if we don't do it well, we risk injuries. For example, it's very hard to recruit all the MUR units in quads, but relatively easy to recruit most of the MUR units in biceps brachii. This is likely the reason why quads recover much faster after workout compared to biceps brachii.